If you could join us at the table, I really appreciate it. For item number 1, Blue Water Technologies, we have we do have representation from the IT department, from the company, and from our chief of staff. Okay. So if you want to just, I have read this over and had some discussion, probably more about it than the rest of the members have. So if you want to give us an overhead for the benefit of the rest of the members, I would appreciate that. What this contract is going to, is going to include.
Through the chair, Tim Johnson, if I can just kind of set it up. This is part of Chair Bell's transparency initiative that
Chair
she
Bells? Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, go
With your
ahead.
encouragement, too, obviously. To look into recording our meetings, to make them available on YouTube, so that the public can, get a better handle on, how the commission conducts business. So we've been working on this for several months. We've looked at some other counties. We've went out and visited some other counties to see what they do. And working with our technology consultant, Blue Water, Rob Ring, Senior Account Executive, and Hector, this is basically what our recommendation is. We did do a demo a couple months ago for Chair Bell, and this is kind of the product that we decided to acquire and equip both the 7th floor meeting room and the mezzanine downstairs.
Okay, so the first question I have is, since this is a brand-new service for the commission, to be transparent, how is this modification to a cooperative purchase contract? Since this is the first time the commission is seeking this relationship, our own individual relationship with a vendor to provide, how is this modification to a cooperative purchase?
It's a cooperative purchase modification because Blue Water helped install our audio system last fall.
Okay, so Blue Water, though, is the vendor, I know, is the vendor of choice of the administration, working with the RT department on all things county-wide, or?
Hi, Hector Roman, Department of Technology. They support the audio-video equipment for the audio-video components within the Guardian building.
Audio-video components. I'm curious as to where you have video components.
Our conference rooms,
So your conference rooms have video components?
most of the county floors have audio-video components.
As it relates to security?
No. There's like in a conference room, there's a projector on a wall, and there's audio-video equipment
Okay,
in a
just-
cabinet.
Just like these and that camera right there, that's what
Yes.
you're talking about. So this contract is not separate between the county commission and this organization? It is a part of the bigger contract with the administration?
Well, the first modification I guess the first part was last fall. The microphones in this room were upgraded, a lot of hardware. The audio equipment in the mezzanine was upgraded as well. And all of that equipment was kind of in the back of the room. The only thing that was visible as far as what people see is the microphones in this room. The other equipment in the cabinets, that was upgraded. I believe we had an iPad purchase to manage the newer hardware as well. Pointing at it.
I believe that is that the time when that was last year, at what time?
I believe it was the fall that we did it.
That's when we lost the audio tapes.
No.
When did we lose the audio tapes?
We lost them in January, but I think it went back to November.
January of 2019, and they went back to November of 2018? Well, I thought it was that's it?
That's my recollection as to what we lost, yep.
Only 3 months? I thought it was a year and 3 months. But, so if you could confirm that for me, I would appreciate it. And that was when this vendor sent it out to a different vendor for upgrades, right? A subcontractor. And from
Well,
what
actually, the manufacturer they sent it back to.
sent it back to the
Media Point.
manufacturer. So it was the manufacturer that was responsible for doing that. I never got a letter.
We didn't have the documentation, but yes, the manufacturer is the one that, in the process of testing to try and get the unit to fail again, they had to record, and what ended up happening was it overwrote all of the recorded content.
So is this equipment going to be set up in such a way that that can't happen again?
The equipment will be set up so that it can download to a USB thumb drive, so that you will be able to remove that content and store it.
So we will be creating archives via a thumb drive and not a cloud-based thing?
You can
or both?
you can also send it via an FTP site. You can stream it out and store it in a cloud-based service if you'd like to do that as well.
Okay, so this particular contract, from what I understand, it only covers the 2 cameras for the chamber. It's not, I mean, it's not covering the equipment here. Is that supposed to come on a following?
It does include the camera here, too.
That's not the way I misinterpreted that, so.
Okay.
Yes, if I may, the proposal that we submitted was to provide 2 cameras in the chamber downstairs on a mezzanine. One on one side, one on the other, that would be voice switched. So as a microphone is activated,
Yeah.
the camera will be, that's assigned to that microphone position will be activated, and a preset will be called. So then operator's not gonna have to try and fumble around with the control of the camera. It's just gonna happen for you automatically.
Nice.
Yeah, so, and it'll also switch which camera is doing the actual recording. So in the mezzanine area, that is 2 cameras. In this conference room, it'll be 1 to replace the camera that is on the wall here.
Great.
And that will be more of a fixed position camera to capture the table.
And that's fine.
Correct.
That sounds very good to me. So, so we're gonna get new equipment, and then, is there a maintenance agreement with the new equipment?
You guys currently have a maintenance agreement with us, so yes, it would be covered under our maintenance agreement with the county.
Okay, that's good. And then is there warranties that cover that? I mean, are the equipment, if something was to go wrong with the
There's-
equipment, it's all included in this cost?
The new equipment is covered under a manufacturer's warranty, and I can send the duration of those warranties to Mr. Johnson if you'd like.
And then if they needed, if there were repairs needed to be done, would your organization be doing them, or our IT department, or collaboratively?
It would likely be that the IT department would engage us to come out and make those repairs, whether it's repairs that we make on site, or we would remove the unit and send it back to the manufacturer for repair.
Okay, so if you had to send a unit back to the manufacturer for repair, what would we be using in the interim to capture meetings? We wouldn't be losing the ability to audio tape meetings while equipment was out for repair, would we? Is
Well, I
there?
think we would utilize our existing audio recorder, which isn't the best solution, but it does cover us, make sure that the meetings are, tape recorded.
Yeah, okay. Could we even keep this one and use this one? It'd be better to have some video than no video. Would that be possible?
So this is a bit of a different type of camera. This is for video conferencing, so if you wanted to communicate with parties that are remote somewhere else, this camera here is not for streaming or recording.
So it wouldn't be compatible with the system that
not.
you're putting in? I got it.
Correct.
Okay, well, I just thought I would ask. Okay, so I get what the equipment is, I get what the arrangement is to implement, maintain. Do you have a deadline on how long it would take you to implement all this? We approve it today, it'll be on the agenda for next Thursday? About how long will it take for you to have this implemented?
We should be able to get the equipment by the end of the month. And then we would work with, to try and find schedules where we could take the room. I would say that the actual time on site would be about a week to get the cable pulled in and do all the programming, mount the equipment, do the programming, and then testing. We want to make sure that it's working properly for you.
Sure, that's reasonable. So Tim, you think we're gonna be ready to roll by mid-October?
I don't know if it'll be that quick, hopefully by the end of October.
By the end of October?
Yep.
I was hoping we would get this all in place before the budget negotiations, but I understand it's a lengthy process. Okay, so, do you have the capability within within this equipment that, and I don't even know if it was discussed as part of it, but what I was looking for when I introduced this originally was the ability not only to audio videotape us, but would you be responsible for then making it accessible, like I said, to, or putting it in a format that it could be made accessible to our local access channels? Because the local government units, there's 43 of them, they care about what we're doing here in Wayne County. And they care about if we're going to be replacing a road, and we had this, a little bit of this discussion offline, but I want to put it on the record. You know, when we're working in our communities, a lot of times we find the cones on the road on the way home from work. You know, we don't even hear about it before it's going to happen. So the local communities, business owners, et cetera, would really like to know what we're doing. And when those agenda items get passed out of full board that say, you know, we're going to start working on Outer Drive, you know, the 1st of October or whatever, the locals can know that and they can prepare for that. Or at least we can say, we put the information out there, right? We can't force anybody to pay attention, but we can at least do our part by putting the information out there. So would we have a mechanism by which that our content of our meeting could be shared with local access channels, local units of government?
So through the chair, I think that would be on the scope of this contract. We are going to make these meetings available on YouTube. In fact, we already are on YouTube with our committee meetings. But not knowing exactly what type of technology the local communities have, you know, I'm not sure.
It's pretty easy. You can just put it on you could either transfer it digitally, or you could transfer it, you could do it via flash drive, right? There's a lot of mechanisms by which to download.
Sure, I'm sure we can engage them and we can discuss what format they would need, and then maybe we can look at it and see if we're able to provide that format. And
Okay.
provide them the videos.
Okay, that would be really good. And then we were talking about archiving, just to make sure that we never lose information again. We need to back it up.
So we do have a mechanism in place now. It started after the last issue. So anytime a meeting is ended, the video is copied to a server that we have in the county. And then that way there's multiple copies. There's a copy on the video recorder itself, and there's another copy on a server as well.
Okay, so the executive side of the house's IT department will have a copy,
Yes.
and then there'll be a copy.
Which commission staff have access to.
Okay, so then I'm gonna just put it out there that I'd like commission staff to download and archive our meetings, so that we have a separate copy of our meetings, so that we can ensure that no matter what happens at the county level, we have them backed up here. That's really important to me. I know that's probably not, probably not something that they would do here, it'd be something that we would have to do. Tim? Is that something we would have to do?
Yeah, I mean, Darcel.
Darcel is slick, I know. He's smart and slick, and he knows how to do it. So I just want to make sure that we're all okay with the idea here on our end, that our staff keep an archive of our records. So that way, if a county commissioner's out of town and misses a meeting, they have access to it however they want it.
If I may?
Yes.
The device, you'll be able to put it on a USB drive and make as many copies as you need to. You'll also be able to stream it out to a
Great.
cloud-based service that you're going to be able to record there as well. So
Nice.
there are options to be able to store this content.
I think
That's
That should not be an issue, I'm sorry.
the other issue is the recorder, I think, has so much more memory than our existing recorder.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a history of some service issues with the existing recording device, so that's where the recommendation came to replace that.
And that's good news, but devices are devices. And, I come from this world. I spent 11 years working on telecommunications and data equipment. So they have glitches and, they lose things. So that's why it's really important to me that we have things backed up. Everything that's said here, I mean, we make multi-million-dollar decisions every day.
Yep.
And we need to have an independent record of the conversations, you know, the information that's provided to us that we make those decisions on. You know, to me, it's a big accountability thing. And it helps us do our jobs too. You know, we all don't sit on all of the committees. We sit on 3 or 4 of them. And we got some big issue coming through. We got budget hearings going on. And we all have busy schedules in our districts when we're not down here. This would give us the capability to view meetings, whether it's via the internet, which brings me to the next question for you. Are you going to be putting all of these meetings on the county's intranet in a way that people can find them? Because I had to dig for a long time to try to find them.
On the intranet, this wouldn't be part of that, but we would have the capabilities to do that.
So I see Carlos here. I want to make the request that you do it. If you go to Wayne County, if you go to Oakland County Board of Commissioners or Oakland County's website, just to give you an example, you'll see Watch the Board. As soon as you open up their webpage, it says Watch the Board. You can push that button. I went through this with our chairwoman, so she's well aware of it. It'll show you the list of all the committee meetings and all the chamber meetings and all the dates. You can pick whichever one you want and watch it, just like that. You don't got to go through this prompt, through that prompt, through this prompt. So can you make that accessible? Tim, you want to address it? Or
Yeah, in
Carl?
fact, we already have a service request in with IT to do just that.
Oh, good.
And we're shooting for an October launch date on that.
Is that what you were going to say too, Carlos?
Hi, Carlos, CIO. Pardon my appearance today. I apologize. I didn't realize
you're
we were
fine.
presenting. One thing I wanted to bring up is, though, that you guys are already posting on YouTube these video recordings, right? So you were talking about having an independent copy. There's a copy that we're going to have at the executive branch. There's a copy you're going to have on your device, but you're also going to have a copy on YouTube, right? Which is accessible through our website. So if you click on the meeting, you can click on where the agenda usually is. There's that link to take you to the video right there. So it's already kind of got a structure. I think what you're suggesting is an internal structure where it's easy for people in here to look for it, and I'm sure we can do that.
Well, even outside people, like I say, it's so much simpler, because I tried to do it, because people told me, oh, they're already up there. So I went to waynecounty.com and I'm looking for them, and I don't see, I'm like, really? Where are they at? They are buried in the bowels of this website. So I would like, I would like a button that says, watch the board or watch the commission, and you hit it, and it has a list. Check it out. Check out Oakland Counties. It's
No, it sounds like there's an opportunity, so thank you.
Yeah, it's user-friendly. I mean, not all of our people are, you know what I mean,
Computer savvy, sure.
I'm not even the most techno-savvy person in the world when it comes to actually hunting through websites. I just wired things to the DMARC, and that was it. So that's something that you can do for us, and you have the requisition in to
Yeah,
make
we've already
it
been
happen.
working with Carlos and Hector's people on it, so.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you thought of it. Okay, I know I asked a million questions. Does anybody else have any other questions? Or did I? Commissioner Colleen, yes, please.
Mr. Johnson, this is a $42,000 contract. Is that all of the costs that are going to be associated with getting this up and running on the WeberNet?
I believe so. There may be some internal costs that,
Yeah, I know
DOT
there's
is-
a couple of things that have come up,
Yeah.
but this is basically and how does that square with the commission budget then for paying for this?
there is money in the budget for it, so.
Okay.
And what we hope to do is maybe get the equipment in this year's budget, and the technology engineering work will come out of next year's budget.
Okay. And when it goes up on the commission page on the website, is there going to be a counter?
We haven't thought that far yet.
Put a counter in. I'll move this for approval, Madam Chair.
It's contingent upon
Okay, it has to be contingent upon this,
the FEP.
Now you
the
tell me.
FEP. No, it's just a little thing. It's the FEP. We have a lot of contracts that come up here that don't have that. That's what is that again?
The business.
Business. Fair employment practices.
Oh, we don't have that,
Thank
we don't
you.
have that certificate yet?
We just have to have that. So if we can make the motion to pass it
Wait a
today contingent upon it if you want.
Well, yeah, I'll make it contingent on that, but that raises another question then. Aren't we already doing business with Blue Water?
That does raise a good question.
And why haven't we had an FEP from them prior to this then, if we're doing business with them?
We did have one submitted. I wasn't
Oh,
able
was
to.
it expired or something?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
All right,
okay.
get on it. All right, contingent upon,
That
Madam
is in,
Chair.
Thank
that
you.
is in the works right now. I
Yeah, yeah.
have somebody
No
helping me
problem.
with that.
Get on it.
Okay. That was
Hopefully
a
today.
good question. We just needed to know the answer to that, and it was a good question. Okay, so I have a motion from Commissioner Colleen
And seconded by Commissioner
and
Claypool.
and a second by Commissioner Clark Coleman. All in favor?
Well, no, I
No.
think she has a...
Oh, she has a
I have
question.
a question.
Oh, I thought she was motioning. to
So
second.
is this,
Yes.
would this be considered sole source? Or was this put out for bids? Was this put out a RFP for this?
No, it wasn't. It was through the cooperative agreement, cooperative purchase.
So the difference? Alicia?
So through the chair, so cooperative purchase is when another agency bids a contract, they go through the process, and then they open it up for others, entities to purchase off of that, just like My Deal. So this one was, I think, GSA, Governmental Services Administration, something that the county utilizes often, and it's on the list of approved cooperative entities that this body approved.
Okay. All right. I was asking for Commissioner Basham because he always wants to know if it's a sole source.
Commissioner Basham?
Pay attention to my agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, yeah, there are a lot of different businesses, because I looked into this myself months ago, and there are a lot of different businesses that do this. My biggest thing was the accountability for what happened before, the independence from the executive side of the House. This needs to be a legislative side of the House. We need to have, our own records and accountability.
132.
So, so that was my big deal about, but if it made sense from a cost perspective, because we already had equipment, and it wasn't your organization actually that was responsible for what happened before, then I'm okay with it. I just want to get it moving as quickly as possible, and for me, it's years overdue. Yes.
Yeah, one more thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
This contract is for 42,220, right?
Yeah, whatever that.
Then what's the 88.9 to 132? What does that mean?
That is for
42.
the previous modification, which is we needed to develop some proprietary software for our voting system that was installed last fall.
Uh-huh.
And Blue Water is going to write that software and install it for us.
Yeah, I don't know why everybody keeps saying 42. I have 43.
Yeah, 43,220, that's what I said.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this portion of it is the 43.
Yeah, the second
220?
modification is 43,220 for the cameras.
And the 88,000 to 132,000, and what's that for?
Yeah, that was for the AV upgrade we did last year, plus the software modification and plus the camera. So that's the total of all the,
New equipment.
So, okay, I'm still not clear. Maybe I'm just not.
well, it was, last year we did the audio visual, or the audio upgrade with the new microphones.
Okay.
That was the
okay.
80. And then there's that small 8,000 for the software for the voting system.
Okay.
And then the 43 is for the new cameras and recorders.
So the
So if
camera
you add
is,
all that up, that's where you get that.
132. So the 88,937 is from all the stuff we already did. And the modification is the 42 that brings us up to the 132. Or did I do the same thing? It's the 43. 43. Do you understand? So we spent $88,937.52 on all the things they did when they upgraded all of our other stuff last year. And this modification of 43,220 is just for the new cameras they're doing
all
now.
right.
Okay?
I was just confused. I'm
Well, I can see why. It's a little,
looking at 40, 43, and then I'm looking at something else that says 88 to 132. Well,
That's what it was. So it brings it up, the total up to 132, 158, and then they're on 2 pages, so that makes it a
so,
little.
and so all of that's in the budget?
Yes, well, the majority of it was spent last year, so.
It's just this additional 43. And Carlos,
Hello. I was trying to figure out if this point was worth making or not, but I feel like it kind of is and worth public comment. So when those videos were lost, we went back and we analyzed what we could have done to avoid any kind of an error like this happening again. And what we kind of have in this situation now is kind of like a death by backup sort of situation. We have the device itself recording and storing these videos. We have Hector's group moving these videos to a backup device. That backup device has tape backups, so we actually move those off-site. We have your staff, usually within the same 1 or 2 days, uploading the video to YouTube, which in and of itself is a backup because you could actually go out to YouTube and re-download them if you had to. If for some reason we lost every version of every backup, we'd still have a backup. So I just want to make sure everyone understands we took it very seriously, and you really, there's no chance that unless there was a problem with the recording itself, that we don't have an actual copy of the videos going forward.
I appreciate that. I think that was worth stating. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions? Any other members? I have a motion from Commissioner Colleen. Did I have a support? Commissioner Clark Coleman did support it? I thought she had to ask a question. Did you support it?
No, I had a question.
Oh, okay.
Support.
Thank you. That item's been moved and supported. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Item passes. Thanks for coming today. Appreciate all your hard work, Tim, as well.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Okay, next item.
Next item 2, approval of a 2-year intergovernmental agreement with the Wayne County Airport Authority.
Hi. And if you want to give us a rundown, give us your name and title for the record and a rundown on this, we'd appreciate it.
Victoria Ennis Edwards. I'm the Director of the Human Relations / Business Inclusion Division, part of Corporation Counsel. What you're looking at is we'll be going into our 16th year as a certifying agency for the United States Department of Transportation, the DBE, which is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. We're the certifying agency for the airport. And to understand the difference, the U.S. Department of Transportation gives dollars to different entities. FAA is one, which is the airport. They then administer programs that provide opportunities for small and disadvantaged businesses out at the airport. And I'll give you an example. When they built the new McNamara terminal, 30% of the total spend had to be spent with these small disadvantaged businesses. That's part of receiving those funds. They administer the program, and there is a separation almost of church and state by us being the certifying agency. So all the businesses that come through Wayne County Human Relations as one of the certifying agencies, and then we are able, at that point, to either provide that they do meet all the criteria set out by the federal agencies, and then they submit annual affidavits that let us know if there are any changes. We do site visits, we review licensing to ensure that they are providing the services that they said they would, as well as they are who they are and they're not a small pass-through front, which is actually taking a small business, a woman and minority-owned business, and then using them as a pass-through for contracting. So we provide the services for this, and we're the second largest one in the state. We're part of the MUCP, which is a certifying agency, City of Detroit, Wayne County, and then you have MDOT that also does certifications. So we are, again, going to provide the service, and we provide the service for a fee. And this allows us to continue to do all the certifications, all the site visits. Sometimes you will have a hearing where if we don't certify someone, they want to appeal it. We will review the records as a group before it goes to USDOT.
I have one question for you. define a disadvantaged business to me?
Okay. For federally, a disadvantaged business, for this program, you have the presumption of disadvantage on race and gender, which means you're either in a minority group or you're women-owned business, along with the small business caps. So you're looking at businesses that are either for small business SBA standards, depending on whether you're manufacturing or if you're in food services. For example, some is $26 million. That's high. Other areas, it's $2.3 million. Part of the certification categories, too, for these businesses as an owner, your personal net worth for construction side, like building a bridge, that's DBE, or building a road, you cannot have a personal net worth more than $750,000. And then on the airport concession side, such as a restaurant, coffee house, providing goods and services at a small kiosk, your personal net worth cannot be more than $1.3 million. The difference in the 1.3 for your personal net worth versus a 750, when you're a concessionaire in the airport, the build-out of that airport space is very expensive. So what they tried to do is give you a bump up on your income to cover, basically take that liability off of you. Because most of the time, if you're going to go into a franchise such as, McDonald's or Big B Coffee into an airport, you personally have to be able to guarantee at least $1 million of it. So what was happening is the program was actually certifying people in the area, but they didn't have the capital. So that is the difference. So you do apply. They're looking for tax returns. You have to put in your business structure. We check that. We do a site visit, your operating agreements, your licensing, ensuring that you're actually a viable business.
And one more question along those lines. This body, some years back, in order to help veterans, wanted to add veteran-owned businesses to minority-owned businesses. Are they still included in that?
They are not included because that's not done federal. However, we do have a veteran-owned business designation. That is part of this specialized procurement process and the procurement program. You do get equalization credits. We've coordinated our application with the federal vet. So, for example, if we have a business that comes in and they're already veteran certified or disabled vet certified, we take a copy of their certificate. We have an abbreviated application. We're able to then get with Veteran Services, verify that they were honorably discharged and that they're viable, and it's a shortened process, and then they get the Wayne County Veteran Certification. Now, as part of our outreach efforts, we legally can't combine them because we obviously cannot supersede federal regulations.
Sure.
But what we do is we try to cross-designate. So if you come to us and you're getting county-based certified, we will ask you specific questions that allow us to take inventory of what else you might be ready for. And then we encourage you to get cross-certified and try to provide certification in as much categories as we can, as well as work with Veteran Services. I present at least once, if not twice a year, to the Veterans Business Roundtable Group, where we send bids to them specifically and we recruit from there.
Thank you so much. That's great to hear. Any other questions on this one? Yes, Commissioner Colleen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Edwards, how long has the Airport Authority been buying this service from us?
I started in April of 2005, and we were providing the service for free.
Okay.
And,
Oh,
yes,
is this the first? Because I took note when it said this will automatically terminate if the board out there says no.
and I'll tell you why.
Well, so that was like, well, have we provided this before? Is this the first time a fee is associated?
No.
It's not. Because then I'm always, the propriety of us approving this before the Airport Authority Board actually approves it. And I always wonder about that situation, whether that's appropriate or not, because it's their decision whether they want to get into this or not. And then we
Yes and no.
Yes and no. If I could maybe
Yeah,
shed a
I'm
little
ready,
light
yeah.
on it for you. Why we have specifically written this way, what we do is we simultaneously send it through Wayne County and through the airport board, because we know the volume. We get close to, year-end close, there is a tidal wave that comes through. So what we try to do is we try to be proactive, and we do it simultaneously. The other thing is this, the way it is written, why we say it will terminate if they don't approve the funding. Understand, just like we have budget hearings, the airport board will approve the budget. Part of the division that this comes from, we are line item. So we know ahead of time, if their budget was not approved, we know that we're not going to carry on services. And what happened a few years ago, the budget did not get approved. And then what happens if I submit an invoice to the airport for our services, we cannot get paid. So and we were in the middle of a 2-year intergovernmental agreement. So we're in the middle of a contract. So if we're about 16 months in, and then all of a sudden there's no funding, the reality is we did not have it written this way, so technically we still had to provide the services and not get paid for it.
Yeah, I got you.
So what we're doing now is ensuring that our line item is funded. Now, the background is this. If the airport does not have the U.S. DOT Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, they're losing out on millions of dollars. They cannot get those dollars and then administer that program without the certification. They did a fee study 4 years ago to see if they were going to bring it in-house. If they were going to bring it in-house with the staff and the training, and it's a lot of training to get geared up to do it, it would cost them more than $1 million just to get geared up.
Yeah. Okay, I see it better. Later on our agenda today is approval of a collective bargaining agreement. And so I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to approve a collective bargaining agreement before the local involved approves it first. That would be, the other question I have on this then is, and you've already alluded to this, in this DBE game out there, there's a lot of stalking horses and people trying to find ways around it.
Right.
Do we have the resources? Can we follow up like 2-3 years later to see if that situation still exists, or if they did enough to kind of get their foot in the door, and then a year and a half later, all of a sudden, the money's going somewhere else? Do we follow up on this? How do we know that year after year, it is what it says it is?
Part of the process is once you are certified, you have to submit what they call an affidavit of no change. Every business will submit an affidavit with any type of business structure. If you move, if you lose a partner, if your classifications change, they must be submitted to us. We review it, and you'd be surprised how small this industry is. We do pop-up site visits. I'm loved and hated all at the same time. And we also have a national database. So if you're certified here in Michigan, you can then go to Ohio or Atlanta, and any other agency that you do work with, they also maintain records. We talk, we share information, and if you're certified here in Michigan, and let's say you're also certified in Atlanta, and there's an issue in Atlanta, they reach out to us, we see it, we talk. For us, we continue to do, what we have something as a 3-year review. Every 3 years, we don't care if your annual is in on time. We do a from scratch. We do a site visit, and then we ask questions. Then the airport is the other arm, because they have to administer the program, getting certified payroll, doing their own site walkings besides us. So you really have two agencies. One of the things we are very prideful on within our division, we believe in the integrity of this program, and we will guard it with everything. So we are very fierce to defend it and make sure that we are not allowing people to create opportunities of fraud. So I'm not saying we're perfect, but we're pretty good at it.
Comforting to hear.
Yep.
I'll move this for approval, Madam Chair. I'm sorry. I didn't say a darn thing.
Commissioner Clark Holman.
Good we don't have that audio stuff set up yet, so I can strike it from the record.
As the former Human Relations Director
Yes, ma'am.
back in the mid-'90s, And as a former Airport Authority board member, I'm quite familiar with the fact that the airport did indeed, the board, investigate the possibility of having their own human relations office, and found it to be cost prohibitive. And therefore, it is certainly to their advantage, and it takes time. You can't just develop your own agency and get up to snuff right away. And they found that out upon investigation. They found that it was a lot cheaper to use the county's Office of Human Relations to get this done. And also the fact that the Human Relations has a reputation that it would take them years to establish. So it just makes sense to me, and the way you have written it up, where that you both, the Airport Authority and the Commission simultaneously does it, makes all the sense in the world. So it's a good program, and they rely on it. The Airport Authority relies on it. They can't provide this service for $230,000. Just doesn't make sense. So I said it to say that I think someone asked the question, suppose they don't approve it. I don't think you have to worry about them not approving it.
I would imagine that's the case, but when I see a caveat
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Sometimes those kind of arrangements are used to put pressure on people for a
Really?
certain outcome, so I just ask, that's all it is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, it was good to get your inside feedback, having served in those roles and knowing that that's something that they are supportive of. It sounds like it makes complete sense to me as well. Is it something that we do here in the county? I mean, not for the airport, but for ourselves.
For ourselves.
You handle all of that program?
We do that here. Now, because it's federal, one of the caveats to have it is that you have to have consistently, minimally $250,000 annually from one of the 3 transportation agencies. So the area you will see in bids sometimes where they will have a DBE goal, you'll see it in the environmental area, because the EPA about 7 years ago, adopted to have a small and disadvantaged business program. And instead of trying to rewrite their own, they adopted the standards in the DBE program. For us in DPS, you would think we could do it with our roads, but if you have to understand, the funds have to come directly to us.
Sure.
The funds trickle through the state. That's why we partner with the state. So a lot of times when you see the bids coming through roads, and it's in conjunction with MDOT, we did not administer the DBE, but on the MDOT side, they've been able to put the DBE goal on it for
I
us.
see. So if the money trickles down through the state operates this program, and
If we get it directly, then
We do it.
And believe me, I've been combing through everybody's budget and all the departments trying to see where we could get those consistent dollars to ask to make the program more robust.
sounds great. Okay, got a motion and support.
I move approval.
I'll support.
The item's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, item passes. Thank you for joining us, Victoria. Next,
Next, item 3, approval of modification number 1 to a 3-year contract with a 2-year option to renew with Heritage Vision Plans, Inc.
this one's pretty straightforward. Claire's here. Come on up, Claire. Appreciate you always being here when we need you. Want to let us know if there's any changes as it relates to this contract with Heritage?
Good afternoon, Claire Mason Lee here in the capacity of Director of Benefits and Disability Administration. No, this is pretty straightforward. This is We're taking advantage of the 2-year extension of the original contract. We're doing that now. The original one will expire September 30th, so this starts October 1st. We're in the process of putting together RFPs for all of our benefit coverages, so those will be coming out this year and the beginning of next year, and Heritage will be included in that, but this contract will now extend to the end of, September 30th of 2021.
Very good. Anyone else have any questions as it relates to this item?
Move approval, Madam Chair.
Support.
Item's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Item passes.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Claire. Next item?
Next, item 4, approval of modification number 1 to an intergovernmental agreement with Wayne State University.
Oh, yeah.
And this is to help develop our leaders, so we have a good, strong succession plan, right, Steve?
The succession plan.
I like it.
Yes, it is. Is this on? There, it's on now. Good afternoon, member commissioners and
Thank you
Chair
for
Webb.
being here.
Yes, I'm here and happy to answer any questions about this modification to the original Wayne State University contract.
Okay. Well, this is part 2,
Yes.
is it not? How did things go in part 1? Do we have measurables?
Well, what we do have, we're getting from surveys, comments and ratings from all the participants, and so far, they've been really, really strong, and we're getting a lot of kudos and nothing but positive feedback from this. And so, yeah, it's been a big success. We spent so much time in the first year of the contract in developing the customized curriculums and so forth, that by the time we finally got around to delivering them, we wanted to just make sure that this was going to be well received and this was going well and our relationship with Wayne State was working well before we sort of put together what we expected to be an extension of this contract. But that's one reason why it sort of took so long to do that. And this is a little confusing in that what we're trying to do with this is that we only started delivering this, the 9 courses, instructor-led courses, about 2 months ago, because the rest of the time was in the development stage. And so this contract, as you see, the original one expires September 19th, right around the corner. And so rather than trying to cram in all 9 courses by that time frame, part of what this is doing is just, we've already paid for the first year, so it doesn't impact this fiscal year, but Wayne State has agreed to continue delivering these courses beyond the September 19th date. So this first year, the delivery of services is going to be extended, even though there's no cost to that. And then essentially what we're doing is renewing for a second year, and then with an option for a third year. And I will say from a cost standpoint, not only has this been, and I can share I can get the committee, the ratings and the feedback from the course. The other thing is that, so we've developed these nine courses, and the cost at the $49,000, we can get 270 people into these 9 courses because we can get up to 30 people, and we have been doing 28, 29, and 30 per session. And if you do the math, that comes out to about $185 per attendee or per participant. And however, that is for 6 to 7 hours. The contract says 6. These have been running 7 hours. Basically, a full day of instructor-led, highly participative training for $184, and maybe compare that to, we're all fairly familiar with, you see the webinars that you can sign up for $199. It's basically 1 hour of content that's non-participative. And so when you put it in the context, we feel this has been a collaborative process in terms of getting the content that meets our needs, which is sort of evolving all the time, and we can kind of change it as we go under this contract. But it's also cost-effective from a per capita perspective, if you will.
I have a couple of technical questions for you
Sure.
as it relates to the 9 courses. Are these 9 courses like credit hours in regular semesters, or are they, all happening in one semester, or how long does it take to complete 9 courses?
Yeah, so it's not exactly that way. It's a great question, so it gives me an opportunity to sort of clarify this. It's 9 offerings. What we developed under this first year were 3 sessions, if you will, or courses. One was called Mastering Management, the second one is Foundations of Leadership, and the third one is Excellence of Leadership. So these are 3 separate courses, and each one has been offered up 3 times.
Okay.
Thus the 9 sessions. So it's not 9 distinct courses.
I got it.
And this way, we're able to offer alternate times and make sure people that are targeted to participate in this can make sure that, they get through it. And then what we plan to do is to continue these 3 through the extension contract, as we get more people through these courses, but we're also going to develop up to 4 new courses to add into the mix. And of course, these leadership courses will link to succession planning, as we've talked about at length. It's, succession planning is not just about identifying individuals for key positions and then learning how far out are they from assuming that role. Maybe they're ready now, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 5 years. But what is a gap analysis?
Yes.
What training development does that person need, and making sure that we get that. So some of this training will fill those gaps. Of course, succession planning also is making sure that there's knowledge transfer the other way for whoever is maybe retiring and leaving, that it's not all up in here, and it's been memorialized through procedures, standards, operating procedures, and things like that. So this does have linkages to that succession planning effort as well.
Well, I appreciate that, and just, I've seen your praises a lot, because of, you're probably, in my 11-year tenure on this board, you're probably the 4th director of HR that I remember, at least. And, you're very, very much proactive. You see the big picture, you see the brain drain that we've experienced through the mass
Right.
exodus of collective, of institutional knowledge.
Right.
And so, and as a 11-year member of the audit committee, and most of it comes down to the lack of expertise, the lack of personnel. And so we're finally doing something about it.
We are, yeah.
And so
Thank you
I'm-
for the kind words.
No, I
appreciate it.
absolutely appreciate it. Thanks for what you bring to the position and to the county. It's
Thank you.
Good stuff. Anybody else have any other comments as it relates to this contract before us? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
So
Item's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Item passes. Thank you so much for making it.
Thank you so much.
Steve.
Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, you too. Okay. Last but certainly not least,
We got an addendum.
oh, we have an addenda, so it's not last. It was going to be last, but it's not now. Okay, so next, we have item number 5.
Approval of a modification to the collective bargaining agreement with the Police Officers Association of Michigan.
And since they're here, come on and join us. I want to hear from both sides of this. Absolutely. And you can sit on either side of the table, wherever it's comfortable for you.
We're used to sitting on
Yeah,
opposite sides of the table.
this is how we negotiate. And thank you so much for all of you for being here. Most of us are big union supporters, and so we appreciate having them here, because to Commissioner Colleen's point earlier, we don't really like to approve things that you don't approve. So this way, you're represented here, so we appreciate that very much. So you want to, this is an extension, so, and I heard it does offer some raises. So if you'd like to give us the highlights of what we were able to accomplish in these negotiations, I'd appreciate it, I'm sure.
Certainly. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Your name for the title.
Joe Martinico, Director of Labor Relations for Wayne County.
Thank you.
We are seeking your approval of a extension agreement, extending the current collective bargaining agreement, which had been scheduled to terminate September 30th of this year for an additional year through September 30th of 2020. The agreement provides for a 3% wage increase effective April 1 of this year, so it'd be retroactive to April. and a $1,000 retention bonus. This is very similar to the arrangement. In fact, it's identical to the arrangement, financial arrangement, economic arrangement that was negotiated with the two AFSCME bargaining units and the two
3317.
GAA bargaining units last year, extending their agreements by 1 year.
Very good.
And it also commemorates the interest of the association to commence bargaining immediately for their next agreement. So that when, we've established what I think is a pretty effective relationship. We look forward to sitting down with the union to address interests that they have, interests that we have, and make an effort during the coming year to conclude a successor agreement with them.
Very good, thank you. And then if we could hear your take on how you feel about this extension and.
I guess it's,
You're
yes,
on.
ma'am. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and good afternoon to Commissioners. My name is Reggie Crawford. I'm the president of the Wayne County Deputy Sheriff's Association, which is the, I guess one can say, the local union under POAM. And to my right is our business agent, Mr. Dave LaMontagne. I'm here as the Labor Relations just stated. We support this extension. I say we, because I'm talking about my entire membership. This is a MOU, which is not a ratification among the membership. However, we have always told our members in some cases, they may not have a vote, but they have a voice. And our executive board went throughout the entire membership on location, and we expressed what was in this extension, and they agreed to it. So it was, the voices. It wasn't a vote, but it was the voices. So our entire membership does support this.
Very good. That's
Yes,
what we
ma'am.
needed to hear. Any other questions from the members? Yeah, Commissioner Colleen.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. It was characterized as an extension, but is there new financials in here? You said the wages were, 3% retroactive to April?
Right, there's
Was
a,
that a new number, or was that in the contract that we're extending?
no, that's a new number that's
Okay.
in the extension agreement.
Okay, so it's the extension plus a couple of items.
Right,
Because to me, an extension just means same damn document.
right.
No changes, no strikeouts, no whatever. Another thing I would like to get from Labor Relations, we hear all the time that the wage scales in the county don't allow us to attract the talent we need and that sort of stuff. And so over the last couple of years, there's been some efforts. There's been some bonuses, which are not baked in as permanent kind of raises.
Right.
In a collective bargaining agreement that has a 3-year run, it's a little bit more baked in on that. Is it possible? Well, I know it's possible. What I would like to get from you is kind of a spreadsheet, like where have these increases come in the last few years? Who has not seen increases for X number of years? Because for me right now, it's kind of a hopscotch pattern out there, who got what. I'd like to see the big picture of who has been, over the last couple of years, getting raises, and the difference between getting a bonus and actual baking it into the salaries, that this is what the new, I hear about it from the airport. We got all those road engineers out there that we're being drained away from us because we can't offer the salary. So it's in a lot of ways. Is that possible to do?
Absolutely, we can put something together.
I'd love to see that. It'd be like a great little scorecard to keep track of this, since we're not going to be able to do everybody all at once.
We have had agreements with unions regarding individual classifications within the bargaining unit.
Right.
Where there were severe retention or recruitment issues. I'll outline those as well.
That would be great, yeah.
So, you can see that it may not have been the whole bargaining unit that
Right.
got that particular increase. And then there have been increases that have been negotiated with the full bargaining unit, sort of across
Right.
the board increases.
Yeah, and I think some of those where you split it out within the collective bargaining agreement maybe are not on my radar or got past me somehow.
Very little gets past you, Commissioner Clinton.
Well, no, the more weight I put on. But in order for things not to get past me, it would be good for me, and I think other commissioners have a little scorecard of seeing that. And then as we think into the future, what other, because we're not in the position just to, hey, everybody across the board, 10%, it's a party.
Right.
We're not in that position.
No, we're not.
It needs to be strategic. So this will show me a little of the strategy.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you,
do
Madam
that.
I can also elaborate, Commissioner Killeen, and to everybody. In fact, Joe and I started pretty close to each other a couple of years ago. I joined on 7/31 of 17, and Joe came in shortly thereafter. And one of the things we both talked about and agreed on was that we didn't want to continue a one-shoe-fits-all approach to labor relations, particularly because we were acutely aware coming in, and it's been underscored that there are certain classifications that are far more, they're difficult positions to recruit and retain, and not everything is equal. That's number one. And then secondly, I think this will be a great document. I just would remind the committee that in that receipt and file that I put together a couple months ago, and it was just on the request is just for the classified positions and open positions. It was that one, and then Chair Webb, you wanted, and astutely so, wanted to see something more in terms of where are the positions, where are the pain points, and what have we done about that? And so I went back and we revised that document, and that document does sort of flag which, out of all the classifications, which ones we are particularly having trouble with. And in some of those, it does sort of, notate that an MOU was done, or some agreement was done, or something special was done to address an acute either attraction or retention issue. So there's some of that that's out there, but this, I think, what you're requesting would be much more targeted and probably provide, a little more detail. So that you could, because there's a follow-on to what we've provided.
Yes, Commissioner Klein.
Where you've already kind of targeted stuff, that's also part of the roadmap, right?
Right.
That these are the high priority, difficult, okay, great, thank you, Madam Chair.
Right.
Yeah, wonderful, and I appreciate your work too, very much, Joe. Thank you for what you both are doing. Glad to see that these increases are coming back to our workforce, because without them, we aren't a county. And we don't, you are our operations, you are what carries out the job we do. So we appreciate that, and especially in law enforcement, it's really become difficult. Even local governments are really struggling with recruiting folks into law enforcement. So God bless you all. Thank you for the work that you do, and I'm glad that you've got this agreement, and hopefully you can hit the floor running on the next one, because that year's going to go by like that, right? You're all going to be in front of
Yes,
us
ma'am.
again. And I hope you're happy with what you're able to negotiate. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, can I get a motion? Did I have one?
Move approval.
Thank you. Item's been moved and supported. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, item passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day, gentlemen. Now we're on to the addenda.
Did anybody get a copy of the addendum?
Did everybody get a copy of the addenda?
Okay. Item D6, approval of modification number 3 to a retroactive sole source professional services 1-year agreement with Ivanti Inc.
Didn't? Did Commissioner Klein, you didn't get a copy of it? Oh, okay.
But I can only speak for me.
Oh.
Everybody got one.
Okay.
Yes, I can't speak for everybody.
Got it.
All right.
Okay. So we're on the addenda, item number 6. And I got Carlos up. Could you please let us know, give us an overview on this? So I think it's pretty straightforward. It's just that we just got it, so we didn't have a lot of time to, as members of this committee, to to digest it. So if you want to give us the overview.
Yeah, I will. And I wanted to say thank you for getting it on. I was surprised, that's why I'm dressed down a little bit today, that I was able to make it on the agenda. I don't have it. Oh, here, you can look at it. I think in the agenda, it says retroactive contract, but if you actually look at the dates, it looks like it's not retro until October 1st. So that might just be a typo, and we might have to address that. It does not appear to be a retroactive contract at this time. Okay?
Okay, that's good to know, 'cause we don't like retroactive contracts.
So, okay, taking a step back, Ivanti is kind of our IT management system, so it does asset tracking, ticket management, a whole host of internal IT processes that we rely on. So this is just an extension to that application.
So that's why it's a sole source, it's because it's an extension to an existing contract that we're already doing business with this. And this is the organization that tracks the trouble tickets that, when we call the help desk, correct?
This is the application, the software.
Software.
That we use to
Track
track
the
these things.
tickets.
Yes.
Right.
It's much more than just that, but honestly, it's the nervous system, central nervous system for IT and managing IT.
In all its reports, regardless of, how they come to you via the help desk or glitches, do you guys monitor the network?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay, so if you see that there's, anything going sideways on the network,
If anything goes sideways in the network, it is monitored by a different piece of software, but if we're going to do something, if we're going to use a human resource to address it, or if we're going to purchase something to address it, we'd go through Ivanti.
I got you. Okay, and this, contract's for $107,000, and it's for, a 1-year agreement. How does that, and I'm sorry, normally I have the question, all these, I know this because I had time to read all of this, but I haven't had time to read all this. So how does this compare with the previous year's costs?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I have that answer. The contract manager who actually owned this wasn't available. Tori, do you have the answer to that?
Hi, Tori Woods, contract manager. I will give you the knowledge that I do have. I'm filling in for the contract manager who actually owns this contract.
Okay.
Because she's unavailable today. But I do believe this contract to be extending the support for 2 years.
She's specifically asking about the dollar amounts.
And it says 1 year.
Yes, for 2
according to
years
mine.
for a cost of $107,279.
So it's not a 1-year agreement, it's a 2-year?
Yes.
It says 1 year on our sheet.
From October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2021.
It says two different things. Okay, I'm sorry, it's just an inconsistency on our side.
No
In one
problem.
place it says it's a 1 year, one place it says it's a 2. So you're giving us the confirmation that it's a 2-year for $107,000.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's better. Okay.
And the
All right.
previous modification added no money, but the original one was for $100,789.20.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Oh, I got a question from Commissioner Basham.
I haven't read this with all due respect, and we have a house physical analysis here with numerous questions, and I'm not prepared to even ask those yet because I need to read the whole thing and vet it for myself, so I'm going to abstain on whatever the vote is today.
I'm going to give you members a minute to read these fiscal questions and answers, because he raises a good point. We got this before we walked in the door. Okay. I've read the questions and answers as it relates to the fiscal analysis, and personally, I feel that they've been answered to my satisfaction. I personally am okay with it, but that is certainly up to, each individual member. So we'll take the vote if there's no more questions. I got a motion from Commissioner Cleen.
Support.
And I got a support from Commissioner Clark Coleman. Thank you very much. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
And one abstention. Thank you. Item passes.
Thank you.
Carlos. Okay, with that, we're, Mr. Clerk,
Item E, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
any such other matters to be brought before the committee? Any such other matters? Hearing none. Next item.
Item F, public comments.
Any member of the public that would like to make a comment? Any member of the public that would like to make a comment? Since Sandy doesn't want to make a comment and Carlos doesn't want to make a comment, we have no comments from the public today. Next item.
Item G, adjournment.
Support? Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Sorry.
Yeah, you. All right. Okay.